What's going on YouTube? It's Ben, and in this video, I'm going to talk about creating strategic relationships and asking the right questions. Alright, so what's going on, guys? Today I wanted to cover two specific concepts that I think are really important for your business as an entrepreneur. The first one being how to create strategic relationships for your business so that you can progress and expand and scale. The other one is how to ask the right questions so that you can essentially double your revenue. Now, if you don't believe me, allow me to explain. Alright, so let's talk about strategic relationships and how to create them and what their value is, because multiple different aspects of different strategic relationships have different values to them and they have different outcomes to them as well. So you might be going after, someone that can help you in a certain way, and you might be going after someone that can help you in another way. But nonetheless, strategic relationships are super important in entrepreneurship, especially if you're a budding brand new business and you simply need to connect with the right people. The first and foremost strategic relationship that you can create is one of networking value. So we all have LinkedIn, we all have other things like that, but in general, just creating a strategic relationship that can help network you into a certain circle or network you to a certain person or a mentor or something of that nature is just super beneficial for an entrepreneur. It could be just someone that directs you to the right book to read to make success out of your business. Like, it totally doesn't matter, but the networking value in creating a strategic relationship is super important. And the way you go about doing this is literally just popping into groups, going on LinkedIn, finding like-minded people, and basically just networking with them and saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for, like this is what I'm into, it looks like you're into that too, like let's chat, maybe let's do a 20-minute phone call, whatever it is, right? And you end up networking and value comes out of that stuff. I can't count how many times I've had a 20-minute conversation with someone and gotten golden nuggets of value out of that conversation. The second most powerful reason that I think strategic relationships are super important for is the educational value. So this is where we get into mentorship and actual teaching and things like that, right? I'm just talking about people that know what they're talking about and that can bestow knowledge upon you, right? So this has happened in my life a bunch where I've gotten information that led me on to a huge successful pathway. I've had mentors in my life that have just dropped like one nugget and boom, all of a sudden I was like massively successful out of nowhere, and they've helped me scale businesses just by giving me simple information like that I didn't know that they had already been through, right? So a really good way to skip over a bunch of obstacles is to find someone that went through all those obstacles and they can tell you not to go through them and how to get over them. The motivational value in a strategic relationship can literally be a doubling of your revenue alone, okay? Listen, if you're in a slump, all right, okay, if you're not really moving your product, or if you're not really moving your service, or if you're not setting things up properly, right? Someone that you create a strategic relationship with that is just naturally a motivator, or they speak to you in some way that just gets right inside your head and tells you, yes, you can do this, yes, you deserve it, yes, you're valuable, and yes, the marketplace wants you. Like, that type of person is priceless. That alone can double your revenue, like I said. Literally, a motivational, strategic relationship like that is absolutely 100% priceless. To kind of wrap all of that up into a bow, creating strategic relationships itself is overall one huge strategy in itself, because we've all heard that you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with, 5, 6, maybe it's 4 people, who knows, whatever. But bottom line is you are the average of the people that you're going to surround yourself with. So if you're hanging around with losers that are doing nothing, you're going to kind of become the same way. However, if you strategically seek out people that are going to educate you, motivate you, keep you accountable, and network you with the right people, you're going to become the average of that whole scenario that you've set up yourself strategically. So this is super, super key, and it's super, super easy, to be honest with you. Frankly, all you have to do is like join a Facebook group and link up with someone, or hop on LinkedIn and simply connect with other people that are doing what you do and that are super successful. Pick their brains, have conversations. It's simply just priceless. Strategic relationships are 100% priceless. All right, so what was the next thing I was going to talk about? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's about asking the right questions. So if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know me pretty well. I'm a total nerd and I study successful people. Specifically with Bill Gates, there's one item that stuck out with me on every single type of interview I watch about him. Specifically about how he interacts with people and how he thinks about the conversation when he interacts with people. He thinks vastly different than you or I would. So if Bill Gates walks up to you and has a conversation with you, he is 100% focused on what you have to say and understanding and digesting the information that you're giving to the conversation. He's way less concerned, almost to the point of like 10% concerned of adding his value into the conversation. He's totally more concerned with figuring out what you have to say and understanding what you are all about rather than him. And there's a really good reason for this. Simply put, how do you learn from others? You ask questions, the right questions. So let's circle back to the Bill Gates thing for 1 second, right? There's a paradox there. Why does Bill Gates talk to someone and put zero value on himself, but 100% value on the other person? There's a paradox here. He strategically wants to digest and get value from that conversation in a very strategic manner, by focusing 100% on what they have to say rather than what he does. Because he could blab all day long about founding Microsoft, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, what he does, blah, blah, blah. But everybody already knows about that stuff, and people can research those things, right? But if he's talking to someone that's unknown, or maybe he just met, or maybe someone that's interesting to him, he wants to find out more about them than he ever would want to take the time to waste talking about himself. Just like me, if I were talking to someone, I'm not necessarily concerned with blabbing about myself and my knowledge or anything that I know. Rather, I'm concerned with understanding what someone else knows, especially if that person is a strategic relationship where I want to learn from them. I want to do something strategic about getting some value out of them, understanding or networking or getting education or some form of value from them rather than from me. What's better for me? Just me talking about all the thoughts that I already know in my own head, or me taking away from the conversation a bunch of stuff that I had no idea about from another person and then walking away with that information? When you break it down, this makes total sense for any business whatsoever, whether it's real estate, recruiting, sales, low ticket, high ticket, it doesn't matter. In business, as an entrepreneur, focusing on the customer voice, being customer centric, understanding what your services and your products do for the customer is paramount. If you are not already focused on your customer in your business, whether it's a service or a product, you definitely need to implement some form of customer-centric way of figuring out what the customer actually wants. And that's by asking the right questions. Because at the end of the day, it is all about that customer. If they're not getting served, there's no value being delivered. And you all know what I say about value is the only thing that gets paid. It's not you that gets paid. It's not your product, your service. They're buying the value you provide, the way you made them feel. As I've frequently said on this channel, business should really never be about sales. Although you are collecting currency for a product or a service, at the end of the day, we shouldn't really consider it a sale. We should be considering it your business solving a problem. How do you get better at solving problems? Well, you ask the right questions. And the better you get at solving problems, the more you're wanted, the more you become a linchpin. Really, the ultimate way to ask better questions is to simply be a better listener. When you send over a proposal and you get feedback from that proposal, you need to take that and eat it for breakfast. You need to be a relentless feedback eater. Okay, that's your only meter as for how you're actually going to get real feedback from the customer. And you also should have conversations that are really straightforward and really open. And I'm a big fan of radical transparency, where you ask someone simply, hey, what exactly did I do wrong? Or, what did you really like about this? Or what could I do better to, win the business next time with another customer? And, when you're open with people like that, people are wide open to give you feedback, so long as you let them know you're not going to be offended and that you really want that feedback. Some of the best companies in the world, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, they listen to what their customers want. They roll out features their customers want, the products they want. They do everything the way the customer wants it. In that fashion, they're extremely successful and they have customer loyalty for life. Now, you really have to understand that this is a paradox, right? You've created a business, you're an entrepreneur, and you're looking at everything from your lens. You have to take that lens off. You have to understand what your business looks like from the customer's lens, not your own. You could create whatever you think the customer wants in your head, but in reality, what does that matter if they don't want it? You're just walking around like an entrepreneur providing a service that nobody wants or mediocrely wants. And that's not good. That's not good enough. You need to figure out what the customer wants, what the customer loves, and what the customer will come back over and over and over for. That's when you really win. This is exactly why I say that if you flip that switch and start listening to the customer, understanding their feedback, getting exactly to the root of what the customer wants, you can make changes to the product or service and deliver the right product and service so that you can essentially double, triple your income, whatever it might be. But it's possible, and this is how you do it. This is when you wind up in a position where your services become better, your products become better, your customer loyalty goes sky high, and you just become known as the value deliverer. And who doesn't like a value deliverer? When you become known as that, essentially you're made. Because as soon as you continue to deliver on that value and innovate and make sure that you're delivering to the customer what they want, you're gonna have customer loyalty for a long, long time. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button, the alert button, so you know every time I come out with a video, which is every single day either way. So I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow. Until then.